motion.
Can I make a motion? Councillor Danaka?
Council received the CAO's Brian Martinson's verbal report and action list for information.
Mr. Martinson.
Okay, I didn't have time to do a written report, but I'll just fill council in on what I've been up to in the last couple of weeks here. During the first week, I met with Sharon Cox and Stella Swaria on April 29th, and what they're asking is for some help from council to repair some grave sites in the Anglican Church Cemetery. What they would require is basically the loader or the backhoe to help pick up some of the grave covers so they can fill them in, the same as what we've done in the McHugh Cemetery for the past years. And we've caught up now, and what they have planned is to work a few weeknights sometime in May, June, and do that. So I'll be bringing that. They sent me a letter of request, and I will be bringing that back to council at the next meeting. Another thing on the evacuees from Fort McMurray, the town has offered free camping, as you can tell by talking with Ken Murdoch, for the evacuees. They have to show that they were registered as an evacuee before I guess we can go back as a municipality and ask for any reimbursement. The town has received some vouchers and that from various businesses, and which we have forwarded on to FCSS. And in the stuff that there was some merchandise, whatever, purchased and dropped off at the fire hall, cases of water, personal items such as toothpaste, toothbrushes, underarm deodorant, that for the evacuees if they did show up. So they also, FCS has access to them also. Their people are coming in to get them. I contacted Louise Meyer today, and she will be picking the vouchers and that up tomorrow. The government is going to be conducting a review of the MGA, and Danielle Levery, our MLA, will be here on June 21st at 1 p.m. to have a meeting and greet with the elected officials, and then there will be an open house session till 4 p.m. to discuss the changes of the MGA. So if council want to mark that down, I'll be, okay.
That's June 21st?
June 21st at 1 o'clock. It'll be the meet and greet with her.
So will that be advertised as a special meeting? Do we have to vote on it, or are you just going to be done?
I'll be bringing that back because we got some time yet, but.
You said June 21st?
June 21st, yeah.
So there's part of it that she wants to meet with council with, and then it'll be open house public?
A meet and greet prior to it with council.
Okay. Okay.
The town issued development permits for the PV Mart and the professional building to Steve Hughes, Agentis Constructors, and currently the town is working on a development agreement for both them projects. I also met with Staff Sergeant John Respite of the RCMP. He gave me a brief update on what's happening around town. He said nothing major was going on. And later on, we had discussed about the new staff sergeant that was in Fort McMurray and whether his house had burnt or whatever, but there was no indication of when he'd be turning up here in High Prairie.
Ryan, I just wanted to go back and ask a question about the development, if I can. My understanding is with the PV Mart, all that's holding it back is the advertising for a couple of weeks and making sure that they meet all of our permit requirements, right?
It's right now we're just in the stage of advertising, so it's not. We haven't discussed the development agreement with them yet. we're just drafting that up now, so.
Okay, yeah.
So once when the 2 weeks is up, then we'll get into the development agreement stuff. We'll even do that probably just before the
So
2
it's
weeks
all
is up.
ready, yeah. Okay.
The RCMP, John also said that they sent members to Fort Mac. And I think he said they were sending 4 officers and they were gonna change them out. He said they weren't gonna jeopardize the town's patrolling or the area by moving these members. They figured that they had enough people to do that. The first night that they were up there, they did their shift and they went back to Anzac. And he said at 3 o'clock in the morning, they got the call, they got evacuated from there, so they had to move farther away, so. And if there's any questions on the to-do list, today we knocked
Brian,
down.
can I just ask you a question? The reason why you were discussing, is a member that's coming here to replace him, the Fort McMurray member? Okay, I
Yes.
think I was confused. on
And the agreement was that he had to sell his house in Fort McMurray.
So if it sounds pretty fast.
He could be here faster.
that. I see, okay, that's a challenge, yes, okay. Councillor Danaka,
Just a couple questions.
did you, were you finished your verbal report?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
This to let council know that the first action list, the removal of the house, was completed today, so.
Councillor Danaka?
Okay, a couple questions. Oops. Just for information, the hearing and speech month, were the flags lowered? It says, have Public Works lower flags on May 7th and advertise on the town's website for hearing and speech month and designate Public Information Day. Where is it? Page 28.
Yeah,
But they were gonna record, injured workers.
For the workers,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, WCB, yeah.
And of course, the other question I have is contacted the MD regarding the golf tournament.
Oh yeah, I did that too. They said that the money was designated for the Heart and Stroke Foundation and the Children's Stollery Hospital Foundation only. There was nothing for Stars or.
Nothing for
Valley
stars
Dog,
or
no.
nothing for High Prairie.
No, that's what they were supporting this year.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry about that.
Any other questions for Mr. Martinson? Councillor Long?
Although Heart and Stroke and the Stollery Children's help out the people of High Prairie in the area quite a bit,
You can speak to that.
you know,
Maybe
but I
not
would rather have it Stars myself, but,
Yeah.
and now I forget what I was gonna ask. Oh, yes. My issue with the poopers, are we gonna put the outhouses on this side? I haven't seen them constructed yet or erected yet, or,
I can answer that question. Yeah, we met last Friday, I think it was, with Fire Chief Melnick. We're gonna get water from the fire hall, and we'll tie into the sewer line that goes from the back of the arena. We will put it back over in the corner on the south side of the bee playground.
yeah.
Because of the workload last week, because of cleanup and some of the other things that we had come up on us, we haven't had a chance to get it there, but it will be done very shortly.
Councillor Panasic?
A couple of questions, but the first one is, I've noticed that they've taken down all of the trees at McIntyre Park, and I know there's a committee to work on that beautification, but I'm just wondering what the plan is for that area. Do we know, and what are they doing?
I might as well jump on that one. There were several trees. Some were at almost a 33-degree angle. There were some diseased trees. There were so many trees and root balls and roots growing up that nothing was growing. And so High Prairie Beautification, along with Trish, she's been sort of the one working on this for the last 2 years, it seems like, and with the approval of the High Prairie Beautification, she's taken on this endeavor, and there's going to be trees and a gazebo and a perennial flower garden throughout, and there's going to be chess tables and other benches and stuff designed for the park as well, and a big red maple tree will be there as well. So we'll have and sod, get rid of the shale that's there as well, and all the cat pee and everything else that's there. So it's going great guns, and so far so good. I don't. That's about, well, you know the rest of it. All the trees are down now, and they're ready to go. Topsoil is available, being made ready. The town's helped out where they can, and West Fraser bucked up the trees, and ATCO cut the trees down. ATCO's now looking at lighting as well, solar lighting for the park. They're willing to look at some of that. So there's tons of things going on with the park there, and whether it's done this year or into early next year, that's sort of the time frame. Mr. Martinson figures that we might be able to get it done this year.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it's right outside my office, so I see it all. I just don't know what the vision was for it, but you gave me a good idea. Just wanted to ask about some of these really old items on here that are adding up, and for example, one of the items, which was that number 517-15, it's regarding the request to man the Gilwood site. I know we had talked about it at a council meeting way back when, and I know being on the Waste Authority, I've informed the Waste Authority that we weren't interested in helping to man that at the time, because that was the discussion that our council had. So I don't think that they're going to be sending you a letter requesting that, because I think we took forward that we're not really interested. We wanted to fund our cleanup that just went, so that was all really good. So I think you can take that off. And if they do want to bring it back on, we can, but I don't expect anything's coming. And then the one right below it, I was. What's that?
We never did hear back from them.
From.
The credit support.
Oh, we haven't heard anything on that?
No.
Okay. Have you followed up with them to just say, are you going to get in touch with us or anything?
I did initially, and
Yeah.
they were supposed to get back to me with their request, and they never.
You might want to do it once more, just because I know with tax time coming, they're going to be back here. So it'd be good to maybe address it once more, because they will be back here. And the one below that, I was just wondering what's happening with the Golden Age Club. Is that work getting done and advertised like it's being committed to?
Again, we asked for bids and that, and we received 2 bids to do the eavesdropping, which was part of it, and none to do the blow-in installation. So, Mrs. Olansky had a quote from the guy that had provided to request the funding to do the blow-in installation. So she was gonna contact him again and see if he was still interested in doing it, but I haven't heard back from her.
Okay.
That was just within the last bit.
And part of it, the other part was that we were gonna help out with the landscaping and that, the topsoil and that around the building. That's when they replaced the treated boards all in the bottom. So, nobody wants to seem to do the work.
I can't believe that at this time, yeah.
All for you.
There was one on the next page, second one down, 11-9, direct administration. I think that was done, that we informed them of the amounts.
The amounts, yeah, that they were, the council had approved, and she never ever did.
Perhaps is there a holdup from the rec board side of things, do you know? Or do they have a new budget with the amounts that are being provided?
I'm not the rec board, in case you didn't
Oh,
know
yeah,
that.
you're the alternate.
But I do know the answer because I've been at the last 2 meetings. Just saying. They are going to prepare a new budget.
They are preparing, okay.
I don't know the answer to that, but they are looking at preparing a new budget because they have to, because they have their old budget that wasn't approved, right? So they don't have the funds for that. So at the last meeting, they talked about preparing a new budget, so. Mr. Martinson.
I can just let council know that administration has been paying the requisitions to them based on this total here, so we've been paying quarterly on this amount, not on any other amount. This was approved by council, so that's what we're paying on, so.
See where it's on
And they say that there's areas where they may be able to make changes, so we'll see what it looks like in their budget. Yeah, it could be. Yeah. Councillor Danaka?
I just have a question. Councillor Panasic wanted to, what was it, where was it? 57-/15, that was the one about manning the Gilwood transfer station, right? Do we not have to pass a motion to rescind that motion, or can you, because I don't think you can just take it off the books. I think you need to have you need to pass a motion to rescind that motion. Correct?
Did we not sort of?
No, can't council, did we make a motion though? Because you can't just, scribble it off and it's gone. I believe you have to make a motion.
To rescind that motion.
Are you talking 5715?
Yes, 51715, the manning of the Gilwood transfer station.
Yeah, and it basically says that request Big Lakes.
Right, but you said you wanted, like, there's nothing happening so you can take it off?
Yeah.
But that's in order to take it off, you have to make a motion to remove that motion. You can't just say, oh, you can just scratch it out. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I guess we probably should have, when we didn't approve because it didn't come forward to council, that we didn't approve the dollars to spend on it, so at that point, it should have just been rescinded probably. So we can make a motion to rescind now, after his report, yeah.
Any other?
Questions on the report? Okay, all in favor of accepting his report as carried. And do we have another motion, Councillor Panassa?
I'll make the motion to rescind motion number 517-15.
All those in favor? Carried.
Page
29 of the agenda is Councillor Danaka.
Make a motion that council receive the check listing for council for April 13th to April 26th, 2016 for information.
Any questions on the check listing? All those in favor? Carried. Councillor Danaka.
Council receives the March and April 2016 reports from FCSS for information.
Questions on the reports? Brian, seriously, you're looking like you have a question.
Well, no, I was just noticing that we have an update from Councillor Gilroy, and I just hadn't had a chance to look at it yet, because oh, it's separate? Oh, okay. Okay.
Which actually was already discussed.
More or less. So this is just an updated a list of.
Yes, I asked for a specific report from yesterday's meeting that we could hand out in case people ask us as councillors on the street what was happening, so that we were all on the same page. We can direct them to FCSS.
Just just further to this topic, which is the report for FCSS, we've sort of questioned in the past that the information that we're getting is not that helpful to us. So at our last FCSS meeting on Monday, I asked if we could have the executive director's report, because it's actually quite helpful, and it will explain a lot more of what's actually happening. And they're going to continue to include that, what they do, as well as they're going to send her report. Councillor Gilroy?
I was just going over this, and it was kind of curious. Supportive listening. That would be a good thing to have a little more definition on. She supportive listened to 115 people, but what does that mean?
Well, that's been
Exactly.
our challenge about the report, is
And-
it
and so
doesn't, they understand it,
Something
but
like that would be kind of appropriate if someone in the community wanted to say, oh, well, wow, they listened to someone talk on the phone, or they listened for a second and marked it down, or they listened while they were doing taxes, and so it'd be nice to know what supportive listening really is.
But it is an amazing group that does a ton of stuff, and it would be very valuable to this council to see actually all the things that they're doing, and I think that information would be better demonstrated to us in the director's report. All those in favor accepting the motion? Carried. 7-0. 1. Fire Service Exemplary Service Medal. We need a motion first. Councillor Long, were you making a motion?
That council approved the attendance of Mayor Cox or delegate to attend the presentation of the 2016 Fire Services Exemplary Service Medal being held in Calgary, Alberta on May 29th, 2016, and I only do so because our Chief Ken Melnick and Deputy Fire Chief Trevor have been nominated for those, right? Or they're receiving.
That's right.
They're
Nominated. So, and
Mr.
yes.
Sorry about that, Councillor Long, but Mr. Melnick phoned me late this afternoon and said that they were not going to attend. He said he couldn't justify the expense to go down there, so he asked for the medals to be shipped up here, and he would like the mayor to present them to himself and Mr. Szarowski at the beginning of next meeting, and Nancy will be contacting Mr. Clegg to ask to bring his camera so we can get some pictures.
Perfect.
It'll be before the next council meeting on the 24th of May.
And so for everybody, then we should dress up in our finest clothes, or your best T-shirt or sweatshirt that you want for your photo. And we
If everybody's going to be here, if you can guarantee you're going to be here, we'll do it at 6:30, and I'll have Jody Schwartz come in and take the picture.
So,
What date?
The 24th before the next council meeting.
so yeah. So I withdraw my motion.
Withdrawn. Don't have to vote on it. Councillor Gilroy.
Is that, just a clarification, you're saying that it's on the 24th, they're not giving the awards to the 29th, that means they get the awards early? Or is it gonna be the first one after the 29th, when everyone else gets theirs?
He phoned him and asked him to send the medals up here.
So they get it early? Good, we're first in the province.
So we'll make a motion to receive it for information.
Yes.
Councillor Long making that motion.
That council received the information from Mayor Cox to attend the 2016 Fire Service Exemplary Service Medal presentation of information.
Just one other question. I'm just curious who nominated them, because I think it was good, but it said who nominated them could go. I was just,
They were, supposed to show up too.
yeah.
But it
But I
doesn't say
and-
anything about who that was. Maybe it
and
was
I-
Mayor Cox.
I don't know, I was just thinking that whoever did nominate them, perhaps we could have them at this, ceremony.
It coulda.
Absolutely.
I don't know if Ken knows or
Something
if
you
he
might
can
know.
find out.
I
I can ask.
Okay.
Okay, all those in favor? Carried.
The one time I let loose the purse strings, eh? And then you burst my bubble.
7-2, Northern Health Summit. Do I have a motion? Councillor Danaka.
I make motion the council approve Councillor Long to attend the Northern Health Summit in Peace River on June 16th and 17th, 2016.
Questions?
Those days are,
Counselor Long, are you interested in attending this? And do we have enough information that you're
Thursday and Friday.
Wasn't it June 17th, one of the days that the MLA was going to be here?
There's something on the 17th.
21st?
Friday on the 21st.
21st, okay.
Oh, it's May 17th that we have.
The 17th and 18th is the Northern Alberta Arts Entertainment. That's when you.
Okay.
Yeah, 21st. No, it looks like we're clear. Thursday, Friday.
Doctor, we're gonna be there?
That might be a good time.
It
would
would
actually,
be a fun time.
we really need to be present here, so if Michael's not able to go, I think that somebody should, or we should approve Michael, and if he's not able to do, maybe we should approve Michael or an alternate, and then.
I'll accept that immediately.
Okay.
Michael or alternate.
So it's Thursday and the Friday. I don't think I'll be here, but, and I don't think I'll be able to take time off work from the 16th, so, and the 17th I won't be here, so I won't be able to attend. As much as I would love to be there.
Well, do you want to consider it? I am willing to go if you can't, but if you want to consider it for a while, Michael, and you can see if you can arrange the time off.
Fair enough.
Or maybe
Yeah.
there's a way to do one day and split it,
Okay.
okay?
Yep.
Because I'd like to see that you have a lot of background information. I'd love to see that you have the opportunity to go. And yeah, then we can nail it down.
Take this back to the car.
Yes.
Okay, so.
Okay. And then I'll,
Amended the motion a little bit. You're good with that? Everybody's okay? Is everybody satisfied with that? Any more questions? Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Golf, oh, powwow.
How about we find-
Notice, 7-3 powwow. Do I have a motion on the powwow? Counselor Long.
of mayor or councilors to attend the second High Prairie Traditional Powwow on May 14th, 2016, to provide a few words of welcome to the grand entry, and that a flag be provided from the town of High Prairie at no cost to the town. And I think if the mayor were sitting here, she would say that this is one of those honorable things that we do that's expected of us. So that's why I threw that in there.
Counselor Danaka.
With this one, I think you need to be a little bit more specific in your motion because they want whoever's attending to make a speech.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're opening it up to mayor and councilors, who's gonna make the speech?
But he wasn't clear. Is that what you were saying, Michael? Did you really just want an alternate?
Mayor or the alternate, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Okay.
yeah, because it made it sound like everybody can go.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
were all doing speeches in the first motion.
So, did you get that change?
Do we want to choose an alternate now? Because this is often a challenge, because if the person that's chosen isn't here. Okay. Counselor Panasic, are you deputy right now?
I am.
Deputy Dowd.
Yeah,
It's your anniversary, so.
and this is the 14th, like this is
This Saturday.
this is Saturday.
Is Mayor Cox back?
Let's be back tomorrow.
So she'll,
I'm not able to attend this Saturday.
so do we know
We
if,
notified her, didn't we?
and she was okay with this?
For this? No. I just got this.
Counselor Long, are you able to attend if she
Yep.
isn't?
Yep.
Anybody have any problem with that? Do we have Michael? Okay.
No, I won't be here.
No, that's good. Just in case, because it's short notice. Mr. Martinson?
We'll check with Mayor Cox when she returns, and if she can't, then we'll get a hold of Councillor Long. Okay, we'll let one of them.
Now, I did do the first one last year, so if,
So did you and I.
yeah, so if there is somebody else that wants to, so if there is somebody who wants to attend, but I loved it. It was so much.
You are a resident expert then, so hopefully you can.
If everybody
Lord.
can make a point to go, you will not be disappointed. It is fantastic.
It was amazing. It was really cool.
Very good.
Okay.
All those in favor? Carried. Seven.
And then go to Terry or go back to?
We'll just finish the golf and then I think that's it besides the reports, right?
Okay,
And then we'll go to Terry.
all right.
But thank you for reminding me about her sitting here quietly.
Okay.
7-4 golf tournament. We don't have any information on it. Counselor Denaka. It looks like you're. Oh, there's a Counselor Long who's got his red light on. Okay. Do we want to deal with this? Do we have the background information? No.
Well,
We don't have-
Because your motion last was to bring it back to the council.
Right. And what Mr. Martinson brought back was just the information on the sponsorship or who's getting the proceeds of and then how we wanted to what position we wanted to sponsor, because for the last 2 years we've been involved in the sponsorship part of it, but we don't have the sponsorship documentation right now. I don't know that it matters that much when we make this decision, because it's just that the tournament's going on with or without us. We can be part of the sponsorship or we can choose not to be part of the sponsorship. So without that information, because I don't really remember the package,
Neither do I.
so do we want to? Okay. So we will receive it for information for now, and we will ask to have the sponsorship. Okay, so we'll vote on that motion. We're receiving it for information.
Who's making the motion?
I will make the motion. Yeah. Guess so. Anybody have any questions? Or are we confusing? You two look a little confused what we're doing here. Okay, all those in favor? We're just receiving it for information?
Yeah.
And now you want to make a motion to bring it back? No? I'll make a motion to bring back the sponsorship request for the County of Big Lakes charity golf tournament to the next regular council meeting for decision. Questions?
I thought, I'm trying to remember what it was, because we had both sponsorships at the same time, we were trying to.
There was two. There was a Teeing for Tots.
But the one that, the Teeing for Tots is the one that helped our pediatric ward, or emerging pediatric ward.
Portion of that was, and
Portion of
Stollery.
that And the Stollery, 60-40 split, I believe. And then this one, the previous year, we had supplied the breakfast at the major tournament, but that was because it was stars and the hospital.
Well, then
The county event is more of a meet and greet too for they invite the local MLAs, and MP was there, different levels of government from around the area, from Greenview, from Valley View. They had TOCO, CAO, it's an opportunity to network in our community as well as support the tournament. So it's sort of a different type of tournament. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so did we vote on that? Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Are you ready? So we will go back to finance. And we need a motion.
Yeah, I was just looking through the paperwork to see the recommended motion from administration. We had to rescind a motion, right? That's got to be our bylaw.
The way it's done, we double-checked with municipal affairs, and this new bylaw replaces and repeals the previous one.
That's on page 4.
Okay. So I would, I move that we give the first, I read a first time on May 10th, 2016 by Councillor Panasic. I'm just, if I give first reading to bylaw, where are you reading here? 0820. Okay. I don't see this written out here, the motion. I see it at the back, but it just says read a first time on this date. Doesn't say that we're approving it, right? I'm gonna make it up on the go then.
Is that what we're doing,
The way that Brian started reading, saying that you're presenting the
First.
bylaw for first reading is the correct.
Okay. Did you get that, Nancy?
Yeah.
Okay, we want to give first reading to bylaw 08-2016.
And did you want to update us? Thank you very much.
I think you guys needed an update. Okay, there's good news, bad news scenario here. What happened is that they have changed the process in the past year or so with the assessors and the way that the information goes into the accounting program. Now, before, all the non-residential numbers were all in one line, and that's the number that I used for the bylaw the first time around. It seems that the linear had not been added in, so we've got more people paying the bill, so the mill rate was able to go down in almost all the categories for non-residential, which is why a new bylaw was more appropriate than changing 25 lines in the old one. And you'll notice that on the the top now of page 3, the non-residential tax rate levy has gone down to under 19. It was 19.5 and is now down to 18.7992. So the overall changes, if you look at every single line for the non-residential compared to your last one, you'll see the slight change for everything because an extra 3.7 million was additive linear assessment. So good news, bad news, you guys have to redo this, but the good news is it's good in the long run. So
What is it doing to the residential?
it pretty well didn't touch the residential at all. It touched it smidgen in the senior foundation and Recplex portion, but it didn't touch, of course, the portion for the school because that was already a given by the government. And of course, the under levies are still, again, they didn't change from what they were before for the residentials. This affected the non-residentials, 90% of it. So a slight decrease. I figured that would be good news.
That part of it definitely is. Does anybody have any comments on Councillor Panasic?
We had, at our mill rate meeting, we had talked about the residents picking up some of the under levy to ease the load. But now with this new money found, can we change that, or like the other regular ones? Because we're right now, if I read this correct, the commercial bill, they're going to be paying less than last year with this new assessment, right? And we ate the 160,000 for them last year.
They're not going to be paying less.
No.
It's just going to be less than it was last week when she talked to us about it.
It's still okay. So it's
This is
dropped
still-
down by 1%
One more point on
or just
About 0.5%, just over 0.5%.
just over 0.5%. And so what does that do to their bill?
Their bill will go down compared to what the numbers I'd given you last week.
And how will that compare to last year? Still be high.
Mr.
right?
Walker?
I didn't do the comparison.
Okay, I'm just,
But you guys approved the last bylaw. I figured this is lower, it's good news, so I didn't think there'd be too many questions.
no, it is. I was just wondering, because we had, at the last one, you did some adjustments where the residential was covering more of the costs. I'm just wondering if we could, with this, tweak it, but it's probably not worth it.
It was such a slight amount that I don't think it would be really worthwhile.
Mr. Walker?
For your information, Council, the consolidated residential tax rate for 2015 was 12.3410, and the consolidated non-residential tax rate for 2015 was 17.5415.
Can you repeat that again? Can you use your mic, please?
Oh, sorry, Donna.
Thank you.
The consolidated residential mill rate for 2015 was 12.3410, and the consolidated non-residential was 17.5415.
You wouldn't happen to have 2014, which is more accurate.
Absolutely. Okay. Actually, I don't. I have the mill rate for the town in 2014, but I don't. I'd have to add all these up for consolidated.
I have it in the package I brought with you last week. I'll just run to the office in 20 seconds.
Oh wait, I'll have it then.
It's a raise.
For 2014? Yeah, I found it now.
Consolidated residential rate for 2014 was 13.77, and non-residential was 18.3595. So this one here is still lower than the one in 2014.
We're still 1 mil under.
And 0.2 for non-residential.
Are we good with the first reading? Councilor? Councilor Long?
That can go, through second.
Oh.
We vote first. Sorry, did you have another question, Brian?
No, just a comment. This is good news, but I'm hoping the numbers are accurate after last year. And then this year, I'm glad we caught this before it was approved. That's wonderful.
What brought this on is because you guys had approved it last week, and now you put the numbers into the accounting program. We worked with our accounting program, and together the numbers weren't jiving, and we couldn't figure out why. We sent Backtrace to find out why they weren't matching up. If we wouldn't have had that bylaw, we wouldn't have been able to do that calculation. And so that was very fortuitous in that respect. We were able to spot it before anything was generated printing wise, other than just our reports.
Excellent.
We'll vote on the first reading. All those in favor? Carried. Councilor Long?
It's good news this time.
Council gives second reading.
Reading of bylaw 08/2016. This day, 10th day of May.
All those in favor? Carried. Can I have Councilor Danaka?
I move that council give unanimous consent to proceed to third and final reading of bylaw 08/2016 on this 10th day of May.
All those in favor? Carried. You have your bylaw. Oh, I have to vote on the third.
I'll make a motion that we give third and final reading to bylaw 08/2016 this 10th day of May.
All those in favor? Carried. Now you have it.
We'll put the numbers into the program in the morning, and we'll have the final numbers for everybody.
That was almost painless. Thank you.
We're talking to Derek Lance, so now we're taking out.
Yeah.
Thanks.
No,
Right here.
only for Jack Gordon.
Yeah.
Okay, council reports.
Yeah.
Mayor Fox isn't here. Councilor Danaka.
You have my written report.
Anybody
If
have?
anybody has any comments, questions? If not, I move my report for information.
Anybody have questions? All those in favor? Counselor Gilroy.
I, actually, last time I covered the other reports verbally to go with with my written one, so I have nothing new to report.
Counselor. Thank you. Counselor Long.
Pioneer Threshermen's Association's grand opening for their big event for the new Triangle Hall was
Absolutely amazing. The High Prairie Community Band was there.
and there had to have been at least 200 people. It was really well attended, and a great history lesson overall. Some of the founding families, they had the daughters of the last people who were actually descendants of the Pioneer Threshermen's Association. So, so they presented benches for them. It was, I had it, now it's gone. Oh, anyways, the two women that were there were very grateful. Ken Matthews was there as well and presented on behalf of the county a big, huge saw blade that was used in the mill, and it had the painting of the steam engine, the original steam engine that was brought on. It was just extremely well done. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to Shannon Prince upon hearing that we had people in the parks camping here from the fire. She went out and took it upon herself to get some donations for them. So many that I felt bad leaving them on my kitchen table. I brought them into the town, and Chief Melnick had them, and then they went on to the FCSS, and did a phenomenal job. And to everybody who helped out, thank you very much. It's been a tough time for the province, but I know that with people like Shannon and others that were helping out in the community, we'll do okay. She got dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of donations and money donated as well. So so again, for everybody who contributed, thank you very, very much. And again, to Shannon and to all the other people helping out, our firefighters that went up north as well. Again, to everybody, thank you. And that's all I have for this time. Although I think I'm missing something. The sesquicentennial meeting, but I wasn't at the last one, so that's why. There you go. And I move my verbal report for information.
All those in favor? Carried. Counselor Panassa.
I did a written report that I missed the deadline on and gave to everybody on their desk, so you can read it over. But a couple of key points that I'd like to bring up, just so everybody's got the information, is one on the High Prairie and District Regional Waste Authority. There's two things that they really went over, and one was adding new members to the authority. There's been a request from 2 other municipalities to join. After much discussion, it was decided not to bring on new members as full members, but rather as associate members. And as a result, as an associate member, they'd get the lower tipping fees, are partly lower, and there'd be a small fee to join. The reason we didn't want full members is because it was very difficult to evaluate how much the original members put in and to come up with a value on what they should pay to join. And if we did, the cost would be prohibitive to some of those communities. So we came up with this associate, so they get lower rates for their tipping dues, but they still can join in and capitalize on that. The other thing is we've been talking, and I've brought it up before, about the contaminated soil sites. We've been talking with Ridgeline Greenfield for quite a few months now. They wanted to do something. At this last meeting, we were informed that the county has given them permission to put in a contaminated soil site, and basically I said, well, you know, how can the county do this? And came back was it's their land, it's their liability at the end of the day. So they did give them permission to go in there. So, and one of the big pushes on it was they wanted a place to take the contaminated soil from the UFA that they're doing. So there was a big push to get that done in a hurry, and that's why it went through quickly. So there's going to be some more discussions about it, but at the end of the day, right now, the money will be going to the authority at about $30 per ton. That's coming, or we get about 27% of the $30 per ton to the authority. And there's some discussion on whether the Greenfield site should be a totally separate entity from the regional solid waste site. So that's still got to be nailed down. But just so you know what's going on out there. And the other thing, just on the airport committees, the airport manager has resigned, so the county is in the process of hiring a new airport manager. They're having issues with the fuel contract because the person that we originally made the arrangements with sold their company. The new company is not, I guess, ready to honor what the old contract was. So we've got to have a meeting with them. But in the meantime, renovations at the airport are continuing. They just put in the kitchen inside the pilot's lounge, and that's wonderful. They're redoing the basement. They're ripping everything out of the basement. It's right down to the concrete walls, putting in new studs. There was some mold and mildew down there, so everything's coming out, and they're starting to put that back together. The county has applied for a grant to resurface the runway, and they're hoping to tie that in with the paving of the highway. And I didn't realize it, but apparently the province is going to be paving from Canuso right to Triangle. So, okay, that was the first I'd heard of it. I was away. So I was quite happy with that. And they're trying to sort of see if they can piggyback on that, if they can get the grant. And also there is this is a question sort of relating to what we just started our committee on, was there's a conference on June 7th in Edmonton, and I guess the committee made the recommendation that whoever from that committee wanted to go to that conference should attend if they can. And again, I'm not sure if we need to bring that to council to get approval for it, because it is one of those committees, and if the committee goes, do we have to bring it back? I know we've discussed this a couple of times, and I'm not sure if we've got an answer to it. So I'm throwing that question out, perhaps to Brian. Do we have to get council's approval, or because we're on that committee and they're recommending it, can we go?
Generally, even for the mayor to attend some of the meetings that she was to go to, we brought them to council, so all of council were aware of them. So if you can provide the information to Nancy on the amount, the costs, and I'll put it on the next agenda on the 24th.
Okay. The question came, we now have a member at large. Can that member at large attend? Because we've had the member at large from the community. It would have to come on the town's dime for them to attend, and that would be the same way then. Okay, I'll put that in. So, any questions?
Actually, I wanted to commend you on the regional solid waste one, because I took in your place the time before, and I was very pleased to find the resolution to the concerns about the new members, and the finalization of who owned the land. That was a big concern. The one question I had other than that was, under the airport committee, you said the county's going to present a conference on June 7th, and it's being hosted by the Alberta Airport Management Association?
They presented, they found out about a conference, that's what I mean. So they presented at the meeting that there was this conference.
Great, okay.
Yeah.
Just a wording thing, that's fine.
No more questions? You move your report?
I move my report for information.
All those in favor? Carried. Councillor Courtland.
I was away for a while, but I got back in time for a rec board meeting, and it was very fulfilling. Lots of information. I physically went and toured the pool, the stairs, and the framework that's always been in discussion with at the pool. I went and had a really good inspection myself of all the issues that are there, and I personally found out that there are major issues. It is not pretty. Like it needs what's coming down the line, which has been worked on for the last 2 years, the new stairs and the framework for that slide, and we approved that because it's in bad shape. Not just the stairs and the framework, but also some of the framework, the main beam supports that hold up the building are also tied into this, and they are in bad shape as well, I found out myself. So along with that, there'll be a little bit more sandblasting and resurfacing, repainting in the turnaround in November. I think it is. They're going to do a pool turnaround, so they'll close down the pool and clean everything out, and then all the services are going to happen at once, with the stairs, the framework, removal and installation of new, plus the sandblasting and the resurfacing of the new beams, plus fixing a couple of the beams that are rusted through. There's full pitting and holes in the main beams that support the building, I found. So, and it is bad. Like, I didn't realize how bad it is, but it's got to be fixed.
And who built that white elephant horse?
You know what? I don't have that information, but with the high humidity in there, the stairs originally probably that was the wrong decision to go with that style, that material. But
sounded like it was cheaper.
It was cheaper at the time, and that's you always go with the cheapest bid, right? And guess what you get? You get what you pay for. So that's what it is. So now we have to fix it. But on the other hand, it's also been 10 years, and with the humidity in there and the constant moisture, it's actually held up very well. But with that, also once they emptied the pool out, where I was looking at the pools themselves and the lazy river and stuff, there is a whack of a whole bunch of regrouting that has to be done, and that's all also in the plan when they do the turnaround. So there's a lot of work to be done in that building when that happens. So just so you know, just give you an update. I went and put my hands on it and had a good look at it, and I have of the opinion that's what has to happen. So it's not just a number and a wish list. It actually has to be done. So yeah. So there's and looking at the material they're going to be using. If you're in the pool, along the east side, there's a little gate, little walkway, and it's fiberglass material. It's a solid fiberglass material. That's a material that will be used for the framework and the stairs. So the longevity will be long. So yeah. So that's what I have for my report. Any questions?
It's more of a comment. That is that even after that report, I'm sure that we can reassure the people of this town that our pool is safe. Just otherwise, we would not have it open.
Well, that's the problem we're at. Is if we don't do this with the oxidization and the rust that's happening, it becomes a health concern, and pretty soon the pool will be shut in due to health concerns. It'll be condemned because of that if we don't do something quickly. So that's yeah.
Have there been X-rays done on those beams on the supports?
They haven't, not to my knowledge, they haven't been X-rayed, But once they sandblast it, I'm kind of gonna talk with Clint down in Northwest, and we're gonna have kind of an action plan, because you won't know till it's sandblasted how thin that is. And depending on how thin it is, we may have to change out some beams.
Yeah.
Because it is eating away badly, so.
X-rays are important, take it from me.
Oh, yeah, no, you're right. And that may be one of the things that, we have till now, between now and November to do that. So, but that's something we may have to do right at the beginning of the turnaround, because I don't know if they can come in during open times and X-ray, I'm not sure. It's not excessive, but maybe after hours or something, they can maybe. Good point. I'll bring that up, you bet. Thanks, Michael.
You said it's absolutely safe.
Well,
no, I just want to make
it
sure
has to
people
be.
realize it's, they would not keep it open unless it was safe to the public.
No.
Because.
And that's our main,
Preventative here.
and that's our main,
I just want to make sure it comes out that way though, to the public.
yeah. So, and that's what was one of my questions was, do we need the slide? Do we still, but you come to a point where it's there, it's expected, people are proud of the facility, so we make it right, and then from here on it'll be good, so.
Well, almost the costs to take it down and to
Yeah.
repair it was going to be quite substantial anyway, right?
Yeah,
So
well,
we did sort of address that a little bit, and it is what it is. We'll just have to get over it. And there has been some planning for it, right?
There has been, yeah.
So.
So I move my verbal report for information.
All those in favor?
I wonder if there's something that we could apply for grants,
They are.
infrastructure grants.
I think they've been pretty good at applying for some of the grants that they
Applied.
would qualify for, because we just did get $30,000 for a resurfacer.
Yeah, I think they.
So I think Lori's pretty well on grant,
they're on the grants
whatever
for
she
that.
can, yeah.
I think there's an ongoing grant
Is there?
on the pool. Something tweaked, but I'll check.
Okay, so I have a written report, and I will move my report. Anybody have any questions? Councillor Nanaka?
I just have a question on your rec board report. Are they having staffing issues again? Like people are leaving and...
Yeah, they just replaced 4 staff again. Part of the challenge is wages, what they can pay. They're trying their best, but I mean, they can only pay so much. And a lot of the staff is young, and they find another job. They're going off to school. There's different reasons why the staff turnover. One of the things we discussed at the meeting that they may take a look at the structure of how they deal with senior and junior staff. Everybody's sort of the same, and they may make a different classification. There's possibility, so they can maybe have some senior lifeguards. Lifeguarding seems to be the more difficult position, because everybody needs to be qualified. They can't just take a course and become a lifeguard. They have to have the physical stature to be able to be a lifeguard. And I didn't realize, but the pool manager was saying that it's very difficult to find people that are qualified, that can actually pass the test. So they're really challenged to have qualified lifeguards, that especially with the low wages that are being paid. So they have to take a look at what to do going forward. Why are you guys?
I think, it is a low wage.
Okay. We thought maybe we'd get Lynn out of retirement, Brian, but I think she wouldn't give up her college job for that, right? They're working on it, and actually I just want to say that the pool managers, this combination job of, they have, what's their names? Ginger and her husband. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. It's escaped me. But anyway, it's a husband-wife combination, and he's Seth Peterson. Ginger and Seth Peterson. There we go. Okay, but they're managing it together, doing a wonderful job. They really have got that place cleaned up nicely. He's got his pulse on all the maintenance issues. Developing relationships with anybody in town that he needs to, working with lots of local guys. They are doing a really good job, and I think that now recognizing some of these wage issues and lifeguard issues, maybe we'll figure out some ways to overcome some of them as well. Any other questions on the report? Okay, we'll vote on it. All those in favor? Carried. Do we need a break or do we want to go right into? Okay. We will take a 10-minute recess.